you're going to be misunderstood. People are going to criticize you. They're going to laugh. They're not going to believe in what you're trying to do. But we have a place for you here.
Yep.
Welcome to the Fuel Hunt Show.
What's going on, Eagles? I'm Joey, and this is the Fuel Hunt Show. On this show, we talk about how to be one of the few so we can strengthen ourselves and strengthen society. Do you agree with that? I'm here with Drew. Joined by Drew here. Cousin and co-founder.
While you were saying that, I was thinking about what I was going to say when you asked me how I was feeling.
Yep.
And I was trying to think of like a big creative word, but I should come prepared next time.
I switched it up today. Keep you on your toes, man.
Yeah, you really threw me off.
Speaking of switching it up today, do you notice anything about me?
You're wearing white.
I am.
It's also throwing me off. Like, so you throw me 2 curveballs.
Well, I'm going to keep throwing them, man. I'm going to keep throwing them. Yeah, so today I put a white because I figure it's summer. We had cut the AC off at HQ so that we can record. I figure, the black hoodie just isn't going to do it. And last time I wore a white hoodie, you remember when I wore that white hoodie on one of the previous shows? And I looked like a ghost. Like I just faded into the hoodie.
More D, dude.
I have been spending a lot of time at the beach.
I love that for you.
Not the beach that everybody is probably thinking, HQ Beach.
Kensington Beach.
Well, not Kensington Beach either. For those listening to know what Kensington Beach is. HQ Beach is the rooftop of Fuel Hunt HQ. So I have been spending at least 15 to 20 minutes a day up there. So I felt confident enough to wear white today so I didn't look like Casper.
You are getting some
I'm
color.
getting a little bit of color, right? I look a little bit.
As the summer goes on, I spend a lot of time in the sun, so I get like super dark.
Yeah.
So you might have to...
Yeah, I'm gonna have to catch up.
The contrast would be bad.
I'm gonna have to catch up. Yeah. I have like farmer's tan, so my face and my arms are, browning. If I took my shirt off, I look like a lobster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'll work into it. I didn't get my mother's Sicilian jeans. I did not get those jeans. That's for sure. I did not get those jeans.
That is for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. So I'll do my best not to look like Casper, man. We got a banger of a show here today. We're going to talk about the 5 sources of self-motivation. That's what I want to talk about today. We got Dane here. We got Kara here. We got Luna here. We also have some guests coming in later today. For the Eagles listening and watching that don't know, we film multiple episodes of the Fuel Hunt Show in one day because we are real people, real business owners that have a real business to run, and we can't just podcast 7 days a week. Yeah. So we condense it all into one day. And we got some guests coming in today I'm really excited about.
Same.
Yeah, so a good day all around. We got a timer now, so I can stay on track. We'll see if it works, Dane. I don't know. I mean, it works, but does it work to keep me in line? I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, there's no avoiding it at this point. Like before, we would just go for hours, over hours, and then Dane would be yelling at us, throwing signs up.
Yeah.
And I feel like you would just ignore them.
I pretty much would. I pretty much would ignore them.
But now it's smacking us in the face.
It is, and it's red letters. It's ticking. It almost looks like a bomb, dude.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
So reverse count for a bomb. So we'll see what happens when it gets to 20 minutes, 40 minutes. Yeah. Maybe there'll be some surprises. Confetti will shoot out. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen. But so let me give you a little background on why I want to talk about self-motivation and its 5 sources today. And you'll notice that I'm putting a word in front of motivation, self, because personally, I believe motivation doesn't exist. And this isn't one of those conversations where it's motivation doesn't exist, discipline, It's not that hardo internet BS. This is a conversation about self-motivation and its sources so that our community, instead of screen sucking YouTube videos of Goggins all day to get pumped up to do what they need to do, they have a tactical plan to channel their own self-motivation to build the lives that they dream of for themselves and their families. That's where I'm at.
Realistically, you mentioned Goggins and Instagram. Like
I love Goggins, but you know what I mean. Like his whole thing is he's like, stay hard. He's not saying think hard. You know what I mean? He's saying, and in order to stay hard, you got to be hard, which means you have to do hard things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So everybody uses his tools that he provides.
Instagram and social media are a dangerous place nowadays and give people even a false sense of motivation, because a lot of these individuals consuming and screen sucking and frying their dopamine receptors will very rarely ever go out and do the work necessary or any work similar to that of which Goggins does.
Yep. I mean, that's why I feel so grateful, and I'm sure you do too, to be surrounded by the few, because there are very few in the few that have that type of behavior that will screen suck the motivation and do nothing about it. And, you know, everybody has highs and lows. And I think sometimes, you know, you need to maybe watch a video like that just to kickstart yourself or whatever. So I'm not judging those that do it every once in a while to be inspired, which we will get into. I am, you know, throwing down the hammer on those that are doing it day in and day out and making no progress. You know what I mean? Just consumption.
And I don't even know if it's like low points, that highs or lows, that you need to watch those videos. Like I got Parker watching who's going to carry the boats. Like he's literally, like, it comes up, like I have it come up on YouTube. We put it on the screen, like, and he's just sitting there like consuming it. Like I love it. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, you know, when you think about it, right, it's like, of the things that he could be consuming, that's valuable for him to consume, because he's using it as it should be used to inspire himself and say, like, there's people out there that are doing hard things, right, that I can do too. Not let me watch 7 of these videos on repeat to muster up the motivation to do what I need to do for the day.
And it's almost it almost depends where you're at on your journey too. Like where Parker is on his journey as an 8-year-old is a lot different than a 30-year-old that needs to just get off the couch. But for me, in my weight loss journey, one of those videos actually did get me going or get me moving. And it was E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. Yeah. When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. You know that one? That one literally changed my life.
And it changed your life because after you watched it, you were inspired and you took action.
Exactly.
Right? So what we're going after here is, when you talk about the journey, we want to talk about tactically how you can go on that journey. At least that's my thinking for this show, for this episode.
Yes. And then you shouldn't need to resort to them after that. Like, you watch that video one time or a couple times, and then the work starts getting done.
Yeah, exactly. I am a firm believer in motivation doesn't exist. Only self-motivation exists. My nan, my grandma, told me a quote, and I attribute it to her, but somebody else probably said it. I don't know. When I was probably, I was on Kensington Ave. I was probably 8 years old, 7 or 8. And she said, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Right?
I don't think that's your grandmom's original quote. No, I'm
Why
sorry.
Why try to ruin it for me, bro? Nan Curcho, man.
I think that what goes back to.
All right. Well, for purposes of the show, since we don't really know,
we'll credit it to your Nan.
We'll credit to Nan Curcio, man. We'll credit to Nan Curcio. She said that to me, and I was like, man, that makes a lot of sense. Like, nobody can come around and force you to act. No. You know what I mean? Only you can make the choice to act and move yourself to action.
Yeah, and you can't save everybody either. Like you said, can't make them drink. Like, you can. The horses that want to drink will proactively find the water themselves with you. They'll ask you. Yeah. They'll ask you, hey, can you tell me where the water is? I know I said water, which I just don't know if I could ever say water.
Yeah, no, I don't even know what that word. I don't even know what that word means. Could you imagine
just like changing your?
No, I couldn't.
Your linguistics to start saying water.
I'll never do that, but I do try to enunciate different. I almost did it there. Like, I'd stop myself. I try to enunciate differently so that, like, my accent doesn't garble the powerful messages, because sometimes I'm talking to people and they're like, what did you say?
I literally just thought, as I said water, I was like, thousands of people are going to listen to this and be like, what the hell did he just say?
Yeah. Quote still remains the same, right? Like, I believe that only self-motivation exists because only self can move to action, right? Nobody else can move you to action, especially not in the long term. Like somebody can force you to do something, but that's not sustainable.
And no one's going to do the work for you either. I struggle with it so many times in my weight loss journey is people would try, like I was a big kid, like in high school and my later elementary school years, but so many people my Uncle Sean tried to get me to jump, like he would have me come stay with him for a weekend, have me working out for a whole weekend and eating right for a whole weekend. It's nothing ever stuck.
Not cousin Sean.
No.
I was gonna say
Sean on my mom's side.
Okay, I got you. I was gonna say cousin Sean. He bring you to his house for a weekend, jump rope. No.
But like he gave me this jump rope. It was like a big thing. I like did it for a week. But realistically, you have to flip the switch, as B says, Bader says, and start holding yourself accountable and doing the work yourself.
Yep, I agree. So this episode is about the tactical ways on your journey that you can motivate self, really, is what it comes down to. The anti-strategy to screen-sucking motivation from the internet, doom scrolling, death scrolling, whatever you want to call it. So let's jump in. I believe that there are 5 sources of self-motivation. All right. Hit the first one right out the gate. We'll run through them, then we'll chain back through.
Yeah. That's it.
First one. And you know I'm a planner, so this is probably going to surprise you. The first source is deciding, making the decision, right? That whatever it is you want to do, that you're trying to motivate yourself to do, weight loss journey, building a business, career promotion, starting a family, what else you got? Buying your dream home, getting out of debt, buying your first car. I don't know. Well, pick it. Pick it, whatever it is. Attracting a great mate. You know what I mean? Partner.
Mate.
You know what I mean? Whatever. The first step is deciding. And during this step, during this source, the how of how you're going to do it is none of your business. None of your business. You need to just decide.
Yeah.
That you're going to do the thing or you're going to die, no matter what. Similar to what we did. Yeah. We had that moment where we were like, look, we're going to do this. We're going to build this community. And then later we're going to build this business, or we're simply going to die trying. Like that's just how it's one or the other. You know what I mean?
Yep. You got to flip the switch.
Yep. I feel like everybody gets so concerned about, and we'll get to the how, right? Everybody gets so concerned about the how in the beginning that they forget to commit.
Yeah.
So then as soon as things get hard, which they get hard right away, they quit because they're not fully committed. They haven't decided.
Usually to make that decision, there has to be an unfortunate situation, but unfortunate
circumstance.
Circumstance or thing that usually there's a catalyst that causes you to make that decision. Like you've had enough. At your job, you're so fed up, or your boss yelled at you, or you got fired, or got a pay cut. You got, in my case, in my weight loss journey, I got broken up with by a girlfriend, or you got made fun of so bad, or beat up by bullies before you started jiu-jitsu. Like there's typically a lot of times a reason why that decision is made. So either it gets to that point or you decide before it does.
Yeah. I think that's one of the struggles in society nowadays, that we've had good times for so long that there aren't many catalysts, especially for like young people, because it's convenient, it's comfortable, everything's easy. You know what I mean? Like I had self-worth issues growing up. Like that's why I turned into such a hard worker, because I was like, oh shit, like I was like, I can go out and I can work hard and I can be recognized. Like my worth will be recognized based on what I create. So that triggered something in me where I was like, okay, you know, now I have that catalyst to decide that I want to start a business, get in shape, you know, whatever it is. But nowadays, like everything is so comfortable and convenient that a lot of those catalysts don't exist. And like you said, social media is a dangerous place. People are going there and finding purposes that aren't really their own.
Yep.
You know, and that's a big problem.
Yep.
Because then you're working toward a goal and a dream that you don't even want. How many stories you hear about somebody that quote unquote makes it, right? They build something of value that brings value into their lives, and they have cars, money, homes, all this other shit, and they're hollow and empty inside. How many stories you hear like that?
A lot,
right?
a lot. But it's very problematic because even in the entrepreneurial space, right, you see all these entrepreneurs on Instagram that have cars and houses and vacations and freedom. But realistically, the reality of entrepreneur, and I speak on entrepreneurship in this specific instance, but it applies to everything.
Yep.
You see all those cars and clothes and vacations and houses, but you don't see the exorbitant amount of time in the dark they spent working and working and working without knowing if they were going to make payroll or going to get paid or going to have a paycheck or if it was all ever going to work out. And the problem is the social media only shows us the good sides of things. So like you see a jacked fitness model, but you don't see the fact that he eats only chicken and rice for every meal.
And he's been doing so for X amount of years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he says no to going out with the homies and going to the baseball games and, you know, like chugging beers and eating soft pretzels and shit like that. Like you don't see all that.
Yeah, I think there is starting to become like a shift in social media society. Like we're almost, it seems like, more interested in the shitty parts of things.
Yes. And we do have, you know, we do have those that are very vocal about the hard, like Goggins, for example, to thank for that.
Yeah.
You know, because what we're doing is we're beginning to glorify what should be glorified, what will unlock purpose and passion in your life. You know what I mean? Those hard things.
We are demonizing social media a little bit, but and motivation type things on social media. But one thing that it does for me and our OG posts every day are, and this is what I believe they should be used for, are powerful reminders that are on your mind and in my mind that we are relaying to the community. And that's what even when I read books written by other entrepreneurs or people like Can't Hurt Me was a great book to remind me that to not be a little bitch. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because I skipped over that in the beginning. I did want to mention that since the very beginning, we get a lot of messages that say like, hey, you know, the team at HQ, what you guys are doing, you motivate me. And that never sat right with us from the very beginning. Like, it's impossible for us to motivate you. The only person that can motivate you is you. What we're here to do, the way I look at it are two things: educate and inspire. So those OG posts, like we call them, the content only post every morning that we've been posting for 7 years, every morning, 7 years straight. Could you imagine posting every morning for 7 years straight? I'm asking the Eagles in the community.
You're literally kind of like mind fucking me right now because when you think of that, that's insane.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And it's been every day.
Yeah. Insane. And just hit the mic. Insane in air quotes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Insane. That'll never work.
We've never missed.
Who do you think you are?
Christmas.
No.
Weekends, holiday. No. It's just never.
No, exactly.
It's not. And that's when I think, obviously, when you get to a certain point of work and being a hard worker, it's not even a question. Like we don't think, are we going to post today? We just know that
exactly. But those posts are they're not meant to motivate. They're meant to educate and inspire. Inspire you meaning, dude, we're just two regular kids from Philly. That's it.
Yeah.
Right? Our team here, amazing people, but they're also just regular people. None of us have any silver spoons. None of us. Right? So we're inspired. Like, if we can do it, damn sure you can do it. Right? That's the inspiration piece. The education piece is like, I just posted last night about our episode with Kenny. The roadmap to building, right, what you want is right there in those posts. Yeah. It's on the back of our tees, and it's in those posts. If you want the tactical stuff, you can join Fuel Hunt Rise, and we'll get on the phone and we'll talk through your specific case. But the overarching concepts that you need to embrace, the rules of the few, they're those posts.
Yep.
You know?
I might want to add one more to that: educate and inspire. That's like always been our thing. We could say include too, to let you know that you're not alone.
Yep. Yep. There's a popular framework, for providing value to somebody nowadays: educate, inspire, entertain. We don't do much entertaining, and we've talked about this. Like, maybe if we injected some humor into things every once in a while, the community may enjoy it. But
I think our form of entertainment is when Nicky Rod collabs with us on his post, because he's fucking funny.
Yeah, maybe. But I do like that that word include, because, and it's crazy. I was just having this. I won't get into why I was having it, but I was having this conversation today with my dad about like reserving space for people. And I ain't talking about this whole like, the way society paints it nowadays and all that BS. Letting somebody know, reserving space for them and letting somebody know, like, we get you. We are you. We're going through what you're going through, and we're here to serve you and help you and provide value on the journey. Like, that's what we're doing right here. 5 sources of self-motivation. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Right? We're to pour into our community and our people and say, like, hey, look, here's a structure that you can follow for success.
And it's back to what you were saying about how we're real business owners with real shit to do.
Yep.
We don't make money off of this podcast. Like that's why we have to do it once a month, because it's a negative impact on our business.
Yeah. It's a positive impact on the community, but dollars and cents. Like, we don't have sponsors. We don't have
positive on the community, negative on the business.
Yeah, on the balance sheet. Yeah, the balance sheet. Yep. We took a couple tangents here, but so much value in it. But that first source of self-motivation is deciding. And like I said, I just want to underscore it. And I'm not the first to say it. I think legendary Les Brown, you know who Les Brown is? Dude's a legend. Legendary Les Brown, I believe it was him that said it first, or one of his mentors. The how is none of your business in the beginning. Mm-hmm. It is none of it. Your business is committing. I'm going to do this or I'm going to die. That I can't think of many other self-motivating statements, outside of that.
I agree.
So that's the first source, self-motivation. Spent a lot of time on it. It's the first step.
Yeah.
And it's an important one, so fitting. Second step or source that I particularly love because I'm a planner. Plan, right? So let's back up. You've decided, I like Rome. I'm a fan of Rome. So let's use the build of Rome analogy. Mm-hmm. You've decided you're going to build Rome. Rome is whatever. It is your family. It is your business. It is your physique. It is whatever. You've decided now you're going to build Rome. Now you need a plan, right? People get tripped up here because they want the perfect plan, or they want a Gantt chart, or they want something, right? It's got to be perfect. Like, wait a second. They get to the third part of the plan and they're like, oh, I don't even know how to do this. Stop. Yeah. Dead stop. Think about building Rome. At this step, keep it simple. All you want to do is make a list of all the tools you need. That's it. You don't know how to use a hammer? We'll figure that out later. You need a hammer. Like, keep it simple. Build an imperfect plan for progress, which is also, newsflash, imperfect. Always. No such thing as perfect progress. So the planning step is obviously near and dear to my heart because I'm a planner. Let's talk about our plan for Fuel Hunt in the beginning. Our plan was as simple as this. Every day, you will do one thing that grows the community. Every day, I will do one thing that grows the community. That's it. That's how it was in 2017, right? Yeah. Both fully employed. And we said, at night. And we agreed it on the phone. So we'd leave our day jobs, get in the truck, get on the phone immediately, remember? Mm-hmm. We would talk for the hour commute home, and we would both decide, this is one thing you're going to do, this is one thing I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. Write a post the post. Mm-hmm. Reach out to this person. Talk to that person.
I think I relate everything in my mind to business and fitness just because that's what I'm so familiar with. But it is almost insane to me that people, and nowadays social media is like literally free marketing for you, like free advertising. Like, you can attract an audience, build an audience, and literally pay $0 to do so. It is insane to me that people say they want to start a business, but they are not posting high value information or high value posts on social media every day. And the thing people lack, even when they do post every day, is intention and effort. But that's a whole other, I was going off on a tangent there. But the fact that people aren't doing the simplest of work to grow their business is almost insane.
I mean, a lot of, when you look at, look, we're the few for a reason. When you look at social media, I feel like we're really shitting on social media. You know, look, the world's positive and negative. Maybe there's a little bit more of a negative spin.
We're also
to it,
nothing without social media.
Exactly.
So that's, we
so
should,
let's clarify. Yeah, let's clarify, right? Let's clarify. But there are a lot of people on social media that talk about doing the work, right? But the work ain't getting done.
Yeah.
The work ain't getting done.
Yeah.
You know, and it provides a forum for, you mentioned dopamine receptors earlier. I love that you're taking, you know, going for the science behind it. But, you know, it provides a forum where you can get a quick hit with quick work, and quick work doesn't get the job done. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the long, hard work does.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So my point about the plan was, like, our plan, I believe in my heart, and we are far from done, but I believe in my heart, we've built something great here together as a team. We've built something of value. And I know for a fact we've built something that has changed people's lives for the better.
Yep.
And we did that with a simple plan in the beginning. You do one thing, I do one thing at night. That's it. Make sure it provides value. Do it with intention. Boom.
It really goes back to the, not to give my mom too many shout outs or too much credit, but the eat chicken and run thing.
Give her credit,
the one thing we always talk about, the eat chicken and run.
It's the same thing.
It was, when I say that to people, they love that expression. I'm like, all right, don't give my mom too much. Don't go too gassed up. But she just told me when I wanted to lose weight to eat chicken and run. And that was, in hindsight, such great advice. You would think that I would need a mom to write me out. Nowadays, people want to be written out the meal plan. They want the perfect workout, when all you have to do is eat less than you consume and do a few and get your heart rate up. That's literally as basic as it gets.
That's what, you know, I sometimes talk to people about, like, macros and shit like that, you know, not because I'm anywhere near a professional, but they have questions of what I do and how I eat. I tell them all, like, macros. And dude, it's so funny. Immediately I get hit with like 15 excuses why they can't do it. And I'm like, look, you're on, let's keep the demonization of social media going. You're on Instagram for 4 fucking hours a day. Instead of that, open up MyFitnessPal and just scan everything that you're eating. Talk to a professional that can get you your baseline, or just start scanning everything you're eating, track, and then talk to a professional and say, here's what I've been eating for the past 7 days. They'll help you out with your baseline and eating a deficit, and then get your heart rate up.
It's people think I'm crazy. I still track my macros every day.
So do I.
I'm not even on any specific goal or anything. I just like to always know. And I bulked a little too hard, so now I'm working back. But
what's measured improves. And that's the funny thing about improvement. Like, you don't know that you need to improve until you know you need to improve, right? So I like to measure. So when I get to that and I'm like, man, like, I'm dragging on the mats or whatever, and I say, okay, I got to make a change. Then I got all the data already. You know, I'm not starting at day one like, oh, well, now I'm going to start tracking. So I do the same thing. Yeah, I do the same thing. It's so, dude, it's easy.
Yeah, I agree.
It's easy. The hardest work.
I think it's easy for you and I, being the kind of people we are. We look at that as like such a simple thing to do, but not everyone.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, inherently it wasn't easy for us. I mean, you lost how much weight? You lost 100 and what? 100
over 100.
Yeah, over 100 pounds.
At one point, it was 120.
Right.
Yeah.
So it wasn't easy for you then, but with consistency, it's become easy. And now you've taken on harder challenges. Now you're an entrepreneur. Now you're an entrepreneur. All right, let's keep cruising through these sources of motivation. Plan pretty straight up. You know what I mean? You need I can't underscore it enough. You need an imperfect plan for imperfect progress. That's what I tell myself. When we're doing something new, whether it's community focused or clothing focused, I'm like, okay, I always remind myself, imperfect plan for imperfect progress. There's no perfect plan. There's no perfect progress. Even if you had a perfect plan, it wouldn't create perfect progress, you know? Keep it simple. Keep it simple out the gate, dude. Just like I said, if you're gonna build Rome, let's make a list of your tools that you need. You know, don't worry about exactly, you know, how you're gonna do the plumbing in this one building in Rome.
Yeah.
Just like the tools and like rough map of the buildings, dude. Like, and we're good to go.
Yeah, and that's back to my parents. My parents are always asking about health things and like ingredients, and I'm like, you guys are jumping ahead. You're not even doing. You guys got to do the base. Like, you got to eat less than you consume, right?
Well,
like
when I started working with Battle Ready, which is now the Agogi, you know, Nate he was one of my coaches with Byron, had like a great point. You know, some guys in the group, and rightfully so, they're hungry, they're go-getters, they're goal-getters, and they're asking him about like meal timing, like nutrient timing and meal timing and stuff. And he was like, look, he's like, guys, like, we're going to get there. He's like, but what you need to worry about like right now is just hitting your caloric, like your number of calories.
Exactly.
Like, let's just worry about that.
Exactly.
Before we get into the more complex nitty gritty, like keep the plan simple. It's imperfect. It will create progress though. You know,
the truth.
It's the truth. So now you got this plan, okay? And you're starting to feel self-motivated, right? You've decided you're going to do this or die. You've made a plan. You've gathered your list of tools. The plan's imperfect, but you're comfortable with that. Comfortable in a good way. You're comfortable being uncomfortable. What's the next source or the next step? The word is start, but I'm going to use a different word because I feel like start is I can't even believe I'm like saying this, but start is like a loaded word nowadays. So I'm just going to use the word try instead. Try your plan. The one or two things on your plan, just try them. Don't make this big deal about having to start. Today, I want to start my diet. I'm going to No.
Yeah.
Just try. All achievement starts with trying. I tell my girls that all the time. Everything, no matter what you want to do. You want to get up there. Everly just finished her softball season. Season didn't work out the way we wanted, but she improved as a player. I told her, just go out and try. That's all you need to do. And it's not everybody, oh, you're setting a bar low. No. Setting a bar where the bar needs to be to start. Try. I feel like this is one of the...
Everly over the house for some softball lessons with Amanda.
She's swinging. She's swinging like Joe DiMaggio now, man. Yeah.
We just get her on some travel teams. And
well, the time will come. Jiu-jitsu first, but the time will come. So I'm going to use the word try. I feel like it's a little bit of a cop-out. I feel like it's like saying, what was that thing you said to me the other day that I went off on, like, I went off the handle. Unalive. Oh my God. Unalive for the Eagles listening and watching. And Drew was like, oh, like, you know, you're going to make this person unalive. And you said it like tongue in cheek. Yeah. And I didn't get it. I was like, what do you mean unalive? And you're like, oh, well, you know, supposedly now you can't say kill anymore. I was like, oh, well, we're screwed.
Well, it's, on Instagram, it blocks it on Instagram. You can't say die or kill, I think.
This is why, to the Eagles, this is why it's so important for you to join us in spreading our mission and movement, because this social media thing, like, they're coming for us. We can't say die growing anymore. We can't say hunt and kill. Like, what's up? You know?
I do have one rebuttal to the try.
Let's do it.
To the try thing.
Let's do it.
One thing I tell my son all the time is trying is not doing. So what say you to that rebuttal? Because
I think we could,
in my opinion, just be go do.
I think we could, if I was on a coaching call with one of our Rise Eagles, I don't know if I would say just try. I'd say that to my daughters. They're 7 and 4, right? Because you got to know the room, right?
Yeah.
And you've got to bend. Your language is a powerful tool, so you have to speak in their language in order for them to translate it into action. I agree with you 1,000%. Like, it's like anything. Like, it's like anything. Oh, I did work today. Well, Did you really do work?
Shuffle papers all day. That was one of our OGs back in the day that you wrote up.
Yeah.
Like don't shuffle papers all day.
It's like you did work, but you were running on a hamster wheel. Like there was no forward progress. So that's a very good point. I think maybe now with the girls, with Everly and Cecilia, maybe I'll say like try hard. You know, in all fairness, I do say this season I started using the word aggressive with Everly, which I've never really, like I've used the word. It's not like a dirty word or anything, but I've used it specifically with her when she was on the field or going out to the field or going into the batter's box. And I'm like, aggressive. And it helped her like lock in. Mm-hmm. So maybe I would say like, you know, try hard or, you know, be aggressive, like something like that. Like I would tailor it a little bit differently, but your rebuttal is going to actually make me better. Yeah. You know, maybe I can consolidate the language.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. And you do a good job of it. Maybe I can consolidate the language a little bit to give it a little more punch. Yeah. So what else about starting? Starting is something people never do.
No, exactly. That's
so
true.
I think that what happens there is a lot of the times people get, and that's why I made such like a big deal about, and I almost said the F word. I know I've cursed a couple times during this.
Yeah.
So I owed $60 in the F it bucket, which is cat. I mean, there's as Brianna would say, shmoney. There's shmoney in here. So I owe 60, but I think people fail to start or try because they get so fixated on a perfect plan.
Also,
you know? Or they've not decided that they're going to die trying.
I also posted this on Instagram a couple of weeks ago, probably, but fear of failure kills more dreams than failure ever will.
Yep, I agree.
And people are more concerned with, and it's so silly to even think, but people are so concerned with what people around them in their communities, at their workplaces, are going to think of them for starting, more than fearing actually failing, or the fear of failing and then being judged for it.
So, man, I love this episode so far, man. I love this. So let's talk about something that we talked about earlier in the show about like reserving space, right? For people in our community, hard workers, dream chasers, risk takers, like reserving the space and letting them know like there's a place for you here. Like this is your home. I think ultimately what people are fearing is rejection of the tribe. Like it's primal wiring, bro. Like when we were our ancestors, right? Hunters and gatherers, right? You act out of protocol, not in accordance with the tribe's mentality, right? Or rules or guidelines, you got ostracized from the tribe. You got rejected and kicked out of the tribe. And you know what that was? Certain death. Because you had to go out and make it on your own. And then you needed the tribe, the power of the tribe. So we haven't really changed much from our hunting and gathering days. We're still that primal. So that's one of the great things about our community, about the Fuel Hunt community. We've reserved a space and said, you're going to be misunderstood. People are going to criticize you. They're going to laugh. They're not going to believe in what you're trying to do. But we have a place for you here.
Yep.
And it's not just like me, you, and Kara, and Bree, and Brianna. It's like 250,000 people. So like you ain't alone. No. You know? Anything else on starting? No. I mean, it's an important one. AKA trying. No?
Doing.
Doing. Go do. You know I'm a go-do guy.
I know.
That's my thing. Go do. But
trying is kind of triggering me right now.
Do I need to get like a blanket and create like a safe area in HQ right now? I'm kidding. I'm gonna take that to heart. I'm gonna think about this. I'm gonna mend the sources of self-motivation. Really, when I put these together and I thought about them, I was like, I don't want to be too flowery. Like I want to use words that are straightforward, like that everybody gets. You know what I mean? Decide. You know what I'm saying? Plan. Right? Start. Luna is our guard dog and making sure that we're safe here.
Photographer Kyle is a big dog guy.
Yeah. He's got good energy. There you go. So let's get fourth source of self-motivation, and that is executing. And I know that's a big word. I know I just said I tried to use words that were approachable, but executing. So you've started the plan, now you got to execute the plan. Meaning, stay at it. Meaning, be consistent, keep going.
Well, this goes along with the do then. This is...
Yeah. Because you got to
I jumped ahead.
You got to call out the start or the try.
Yeah.
Like you've got to call it out because that's where most people are faltering.
Yeah.
So this is the execute, the stay with it no matter what. And we're going to do a show a little later on today about the hockey stick. But talking about reserving a space for eagles, a place for them, a nest for them, a place for them to call home, like the execution of your plan. People always say starting is the hardest part. Yes and no, because the execution can be very, very difficult. It's boring. It's lonely. There's many, many parts of executing the plan that cause people to quit, you know?
Yeah.
Do you have any wisdom that you want to share with the community, the Eagles listening and watching when it comes to executing or sticking with the plan on a day-to-day basis?
No, I think I wasted all my executing on when I was yelling at you.
How about consistency?
Nah, it's all so, and I don't mean to.
I know. I guess I should have went over the
I don't mean
5 sources with you beforehand so that you didn't.
I don't mean to sound arrogant, but
Please sound arrogant.
But it's
Please
so
sound
simple. The more you try, the less you try to overcomplicate and overthink and just do, the closer you get to actually reaching your goals.
Yep.
And that's just 100% the truth.
Bro, I ain't arrogant. It's
And simple scales in business and in life and in fitness and in health, just do the boring work every day and you will get to where you want to go. Just, that's the issue, is that people don't want to do boring.
Yep.
And they don't want to do the necessary work. Yep. They're all in on the sexy stuff, but it's the mundane, boring, unsexy stuff that actually moves the needle.
Yes, absolutely it does. Absolutely. Especially the further on you get in the journey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because you realize what works and you got to do more of what works. And doing more of what works doesn't feel as great, doesn't feel sexy because it's not new.
No.
You know? This is like a couple of times during the show today I've said step instead of source, because I really look at these. They are sources of self-motivation to get you going, to build your Rome, but they're also steps in the process. When people get to that unsexy, boring part during execution, you know what they do?
They quit.
They quit, or they step back to start.
Yeah.
And they start some new shit.
Yep.
And you know what the worst? Oh man, I'm really racking up the bills today. You know what the worst part about stepping back to start and starting something new is?
What?
You skip the first 2 steps.
Yeah.
The decision and the plan. So now you're starting something new. You haven't decided you're going to do it or die. Big red flag, because that means your ass going to quit.
Yeah.
And you have no plan. So more than likely, you're starting something that you saw some idiot on social media do. Some drop shipping, freaking, master drop shipping in 7 days to become a millionaire. You start some shit you don't even want to do.
Yeah.
And then what happens? Then you quit again. Then you go back to start.
Yeah.
Then you quit again. Then you go back to start. Then maybe something triggers inside of you and you say, you know what? I need to go back to the decision. Who am I? What is it that I want? Blah, 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 blah. What can I do or die?
Yeah.
So they're sources of self-motivation, but they're also steps in my mind. That's how my crazy brain works. I hope everybody's in the community is taking value from it. But
it's funny. I even knowing what I know, I make the same mistakes. I got Sean and Simon yelling at me all the time because we talk about like fitness and stuff, and I'm always the new workout program. I got this coach. Or I'm trying this workout method or whatever. And they're like, that we had like a rough conversation. They were like, dude, fucking stop and just do the basics. Like just do 5-3-1 and get fucking strong.
Exactly.
And that's what
they're Wendler guys?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
And that's what I had to go back to. So I just like literally just go back
5-3-1
to,
is, dude. 5-3-1. So Speaking of starting something
this
new.
dude had me doing like oscillating reps. And I'm like,
Oh, come on, bro. What are you doing, man? I know nothing about this. I'm not an expert. What are you doing, though, man? Quick aside. So I am a big 531 guy. So I did 531 and boring but big were his two programs that I patched together, and I did those for years.
Yeah.
Now, I've recently, just this week, I've switched to Jay Ferrugia's friend of the community, friend of mine, dear friend of mine, who I just met, but we had an instant bond. He just released his midlife muscle program.
That's up your alley.
So at like 40, I'll be honest, man, like with the jiu-jitsu training.
Jay Ferrugia's fucking jacked.
Yeah, he's man.
Yeah.
With the jiu-jitsu training I do, and the entrepreneurial training I do, at 42, you know, powerlifting regimens for me are much different than they were at 30, you know? Yeah. So I'm trying a little something different, but for the right reasons.
What's the midlife muscle? What's that programming like?
It's a push-pull legs or push legs pull. So it's familiar, but Jay is great with tailoring because he's one of us, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's great at tailoring exercises to men in their midlife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Reducing pain during the exercises and really putting together a structure of, look, like, I know how you behaved in your 20s and 30s, and I know how you want to behave in your 40s, but here's the reality of the situation and how to do it a bit differently and still have success. Yeah. So I'm really enjoying it. But I think, though, like, I mean, how else can we say it other than, like, we're not perfect? Like, all these things we're talking about.
That's what I wanted to relay is that
it's like
I make the same mistakes.
Newsflash.
Yeah.
There's no perfect plan. There's no perfect progress, and there's no perfect people, and that includes us. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, the only way that we've gotten to where we are now, and we're far from fucking done, but the only way we've gotten to where we are right now is by failing. Yeah. Literally.
Doing and
failing.
And learning. Yeah.
Doing, failing, learning. Doing, failing, learning. Doing, failing, learning. Yep. That's it.
100%.
All right, so that is the fourth step or source of self-motivation. Last but not least, the fifth source of self-motivation, the thing that you can do to move yourself into action to build your Rome, is achieve. And I'm not talking about achieve your entire plan, I'm not talking about build Rome. I'm talking about short-range goals along your path. Short-range goals along your path, right? So I don't want to get into a whole goal-setting exercise right now, but I believe that there's short-range goals and there's long-range goals, right? Like your Rome is your long-range goal. Your short-range goal, they're confidence builders, right? They're the things you need to continue on executing your plan. Yeah. You've got to celebrate them along the way. Yeah. You've got to celebrate along the way your achievements. And I don't think that, me personally, talking about being imperfect, I don't think I do a really great job of that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Which you and Brianna have told me, and we've had that conversation in our EOS meetings, and you've asked me to set a goal to smell the roses more often, which, you know, again, I can be better, but I've been doing a pretty decent job of doing if I pat myself on the back for a moment.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I mean, and again, when we were building this and to what it is now, it was hard, you know, and we risked a lot, sacrificed a lot, and we were going through some hard times. And I mean, hard times are always coming and going, but it weared on us a lot. And I think the pressure put you in your attack mode. For those that don't know, when we were in the thick of it, Joey was showing up to the office every day in attack mode. To some, it may seem grumpy, but it's really just how Joey would stay focused.
Yeah. So if I can clarify, right? And I've thought a lot about this, and now I have words for it, right? That's how you develop language to excuse yourself. No, I'm joking. That's how you develop language to put color to it. So I did a lot of attacking, just generally. Like I was laying waste to everything, people, processes, everything. What I needed to do was attack the problem, not the people. And although I wasn't coming in and being like, "Hey, dickhead, what are you doing?" My energy that I was giving off was like super aggressive because I was attacking anything in my wingspan instead of saying, okay, like I'm going to channel all this energy and attack just the problem. The other thing too is I didn't even explain that to you. I wasn't like, hey, look, I'm attacking the problem, not the people. You know? So
So anyway, we were making progress as we always are. So I think we all just obviously do things differently, and I just I was just happy to be along for the ride. Do you know what I mean? Like just to be there doing what we, like you say, doing what we love with who we love. That I showed up differently, but did moments ever like say like, yeah, like you're in attack mode, like you gotta chill, like the same thing. Okay.
Well, I mean, like I said, this is, you know, as far as achievement goes, is this like last step or last source of self-motivation along this journey to continue moving yourself into action and being motivated, self-motivated. You do have to stop. You can't be in attack mode all the time. You have to, part of the hunt is reflection and awareness. And you need to say, like, you know, I've put the work in and I've built something. You know, I've done something. We've done some good things. Like, let's celebrate our progress a little bit. You know, let's stop and smell the roses.
You have to do the work, but then enjoy the work while you're doing it. And not that we didn't enjoy it, it's like you have to actually exude like you are. You know what I mean? Like you were enjoying it, but we were. And again, I was, when it came to my house, like there were times when Amanda quit her job to go on her entrepreneurial journey, and I was, and the other day someone asked me, "Oh, when did you start Flawless?" And we were like, "Oh, 2017." And they're like, "Oh, when did you start Fuel Hunt?" I was like, "Oh, 2017." And they're like, "Wait, what?" So those, and I was
burn the boats,
and I was brutal at home. Like there were times when I was just like, because all the pressure was on me, and all I wanted to do, I didn't want to go anywhere, do anything. I just want, like, and again, we're still kind of like this. I just wanted to work and attack the problem, figure out what wasn't working, and then do more of what was working.
Talking about imperfections, man, like during that time, I was a raving lunatic at home. Like I was not the best father and husband I could be. And I'll be honest with you, I still have those moments, you know, to this day. We talked about the roller coaster that is entrepreneurship. You come in the morning to HQ, you riding high, dude. You know, it's amazing. You're enjoying the journey. And then like the flip of a switch, something can happen. Difficulty crops up that changes your demeanor and your attitude. And some days it's a struggle for me to change back into the man I need to be at home for that. That's, I think, something that anybody in the entrepreneurial game, no matter what level you're at or what part of the journey, struggles with, man. You know, Bedros talks about like, you know, letting the armor fall off as a visualization that I absolutely love. Like you're walking around all day and basically like, you know, suited up like a knight. You know, you have this armor on, like you are impervious, like nothing can like penetrate. You know what I mean? Your exterior, your calloused exterior. But his walk was, I think, from like his pool house or whatever into his home for dinner. And he said that he used to visualize the armor falling off of his body as he walked in. And sometimes I have to do that same visualization to, you know, really get me in the proper mindset to be the best I can be at home.
Another super successful entrepreneur, Amanda's dad, Mr. Bachman, he always yells at me for working at home after hours, but because he says he would leave work at work and then come home and that was family time. But
nowadays the world's changed a little bit, and
he doesn't.
I still like we both do. We have that block of family time around dinner that we protect. But other than that, it's like work.
It's just work.
Is work.
Yeah.
There's a time for sowing and there's a time for reaping. Like if you look at our reap what you grow, right? Yeah. If you want to grow something, there's a time for sowing and there's a time for reaping. And right now, we are not in the harvest phase. We're not.
Yeah.
We're still sowing.
Yeah.
You know, and that requires sacrifice or investment. You know, if you don't want to call it sacrifice, it requires investment. So, I mean, I love this episode. I really did. I felt like it was great. I know the community is going to take some value from it on their journeys, and it's going to help them self-motivate instead of looking for external sources of motivation.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else you want to? I think I'm forgetting something.
No.
Anything else you want to add?
That was when you sent me the outline. I didn't.
You mean this morning, 20 minutes before we started doing this? Just full transparency. I mean, it's
much heavier hitting than I expected.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when I send you
like
a 2-minute voice memo, and I'm like, "Hey, this is what we're going to talk about."
When you get us going, though, it's just
it's electric.
At one point, you were yelling at me. I felt like
was I?
Yeah.
I told you I wanted to punch it up. I feel like, man, I feel like I'm dampening my intensity. So this is the thing.
We're different though. Like,
oh, we are.
We're yin and yang.
Yeah, we
are.
So
it's hard for us to find that medium because I'm much more lower vibrating. I guess
not lower vibrating. You're just.
I'm a mellower.
Yeah. And I'm more manic.
Yeah, you're an intense guy. So we have to find that perfect balance.
I think we found it.
Yeah.
I think we found it.
So these chairs, Dane.
No. I love these things, man. No, I think you're right. You've hit the nail on the head. But I think we found the balance. The balance doesn't exist. It's a mix. And I was not yelling at you during the show. Yeah, I was attacking the problem, not the person.
You're attacking.
All right, we'll end it there. Please, I mentioned this maybe on the last show. We want to, speaking to the Eagles that are watching and listening, we want to cover topics that you want to hear about, right? So if you have a topic or something you're struggling with that you want us to cover on the show, leave it in the YouTube comments. And it would greatly, greatly help our movement. And it would help us combat all the negative we talked about during the show if you shared the show, right?
Share it with an Eagle who needs it.
Share it with a hard worker in your life, a dream chaser in your life, a risk taker in your life, someone that loves freedom in your life, someone that loves dogs. I mean, in your life, dog loving is also another key component of the community of an Eagle. So, yes, please share the show. All right. You want me to sign off? I'm going to sign off.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. I forgot to sign off now, Jegan. Move the mic here. I'm going to leave the Eagles with something. And so is Luna. Remember, always choose hard work over handouts. Always choose effort over entitlement. No one owns you. No one owes you. You're one of the few. Now let's hunt.